Okay, so in this last video in this series, in this 12-bar blues with the dominant 7 chords, um, I'll show you an inversion, and this is a pretty cool little sound. We'll use that same, now we're in the key of E, so we have our E7, but we'll also use this E7. Notice how that just changes the sound of that chord just by... We're not bringing in any new notes. It's just a different version of the chord. We're still in root position. So this E7, and now what we'll do is we're going to use an inversion for the 4 chord. So it's still an A7 chord, but we're putting the E as the lowest note now. And what that does, we can get our pinky on the 2nd string 8th fret. So you could do this with a bar chord too, like this. But this is a nice, tight, compact kind of sound. So we'll go from this E7 to this A7 with the E in the bass to this E7. So it's a quick change to the 4. And then we're back here for our 4 chord. Back here for 1. The 5 chord, we'll use that, the one we learned in the last video. So our first finger, we're muting the 4th string. We're not barring all of them. We're not hitting all of them. It's just a 4-finger chord. And then that A, E, and then for this B, we'll use this bar chord. Okay, so we're gonna play the same chord but with some different voicings and see what that sounds like. All right, here we go. 3 2 3 4 2 3 1 2 3 2 2 3 3 2 3 4 2 3. Okay, so you can see how just playing different shapes of the chords, maybe some inversions of some of the chords, gives you some different color, different sound. Some of those chords are brighter than the others, even though it's the same chord and we didn't invert it, like this E7. Same chord, different sound because of where you're playing it, and then the order of the notes. And then by leaving this E in the bass, when we go to the 4 chord, it makes for a pretty cool tension. So you hear the different chord, but it's the same note in the bass. So it's a nice tight sound. And then again, notice even between this B7, I would say that's a dark sound, but we're not hitting that top E string. So that's kind of that's definitely like a fuller, brighter. Sometimes I think bar chords can be pretty clunky. That's a nice sound. So the idea is to get you moving around the neck a little bit, seeing these root notes, starting to think about some of the inversions, and then think of these chords as color. Like, just because it's an E7 chord doesn't mean it's going to sound the same all the time. You know, this versus this versus, those are all E7 chords. So you'll start to hear and make choices depending on the color you're going for, how the chords connect, like I was saying with this E7, A7. You'll start to hear those things, and you'll start to see other players do it, and also it depends on what else is going on in the music. Like, what is the piano player doing? Is there a horn section? Is somebody playing down low? It's really important to do that, and it also helps open up the neck to your lead playing and playing licks, because if you can start to see these different chords and these voicings up the neck, what we'll be talking about pretty soon is being able to attach or see, like some people talk about the cage system, and so seeing different chords and then arpeggios and scales on top of it. So I'm not too big in buying into just one system and having that be the be all end all. You're trying to create a roadmap for yourself across the neck, horizontally, diagonally. You want to be able to see these different things. It just makes things more dimensional and more interesting, and you'll see and hear this in recordings as well. So work on these different exercises. Like I said earlier, take them to different keys, move them around, play them at different tempos, play them with different grooves, and just kind of get them under your fingers, because then we'll be able to build on it. All right, so have fun, and I'll see you next time. Remember to hit the website, sign up for our newsletter, because there's free content, exclusive content. There'll be offers and stuff that you'll only get if you're signed up for the newsletter. There's a lot of good blog posts and lessons there, and then also under the courses, there's some really good stuff on some exercises, which is that guitar skills thing I mentioned. And then the power chord course will help you learn and memorize, not just kind of memorize and forget, but you're going to learn how to memorize the fretboard, and you'll start to be able to move around without having to thinking about where you are. And then there's a half bar chord course that I'm pretty excited about, because we're going to build on that with some of these scales that I was just talking about, like kind of seeing like the cage system, I guess, in a way, where you're seeing these pentatonic scales, 6 licks, where you can play things off of chord shapes. Like, instead of having to play like this full E chord, you invert it, the third's in the bass. So you'll be able to see how to play some of these licks, and also how to move around and connect this material we've been talking about. So that's the half bar course. I'm really excited about that one, and we're going to build on that one too. So visit the website, sign up for the newsletter. I'll see you next time.